Joining us now is Associate Editor of The Nation newspaper, Adekunle Yusuf. Adekunle, good morning. Happy Democracy Day.
Same to you. I'm very glad to be here. Happy Democracy.
And happy June 12th.
Yes.
It's a new Democracy Day. Anyway, now after weeks of intrigues and build-up frenzy to the 9th National Assembly leadership election, it's finally done and dusted yesterday. Now, was this what you expected to have happened, and what did the APC do right this time, seeing that the same set of persons that they brought about in 2015 were the ones that came up this time again and they got the seats?
To me, what it means is that President Muhammadu Buhari and his All Progressives Congress should have no reason to complain about why the presidency is unable to implement the change agenda they promised Nigerians in 2015. You know, many Nigerians were not too, happy with the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari in the first 4 years, but they were so, lenient to give him another 4 years. Now he has another, what we normally call a second chance. He decided, I think by now, naively, in 2015 to say, I am ready to work with anybody. He ended up having anybody, as he said that time, but later he started complaining, that the people in the National Assembly were not cooperative enough, were not part of the dream of change they had in mind and all that. Now, the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC, they have the people, their preferred candidates, now as Senate President, now as Deputy Senate President, now as Speaker of the House of Representatives, now as Deputy Speaker. To me now, I don't believe anybody can tell me any reason why this government is unable to do anything.
In fact, the national chairman, Adams Oshomole, said it yesterday, that there is no more excuse as to why this government will not perform, now that they've had everybody they want. But if you look at things, what would they really do differently that will bring about that change or taking things to the next level as far as the slogan of the government is concerned?
No, there is a lot.
Okay.
In Nigeria, we politicize everything. If you look at the presidency and the legislature, the last 4 years have been fraught with a lot of politicking. Toxic politics on the part of the two, arms of government. There are a lot of things that ordinarily would have benefited Nigerians. So the one party will go this way, the other one will go this way. And when two elephants, when they fight, who suffer?
The grass.
The grasses. So we ordinary folks, we are the ones that bear the brunt of their politicking. Now that, with the emergence of Lawan, with the emergence of Femi Gbajabiamila, I think there is no reason for that anymore. That politics will be put aside. Now there won't be any reason for the presidency and the legislature to be mutual animosity, you have to be watching your back. So
you invariably are saying this should translate to good governance, basically.
It should. That is on paper. In Nigeria, anything. But the problem we may envisage is, are we expecting a rubber stamp legislature?
Because they are functions.
Yes,
that's
a big
it.
question.
You need to study Lawan very well. I don't think Lawan will give a rubber stamp legislature, because if it does, Nigerians, we always will be the loser for it. We want a legislature that can be assertive, that is almost totally independent. A legislature, believe me, many people always think the presidency or the executive is the most important arm of government. That's not true. It is the legislature. The people, that's the assembly of people directly, elected by virtually every part of Nigeria. Every constituency, has a representative there. So if the National Assembly carries out its oversight functions very well, believe me, the president will not be able to sleep very well. And at the end of the day, this is not to me you want to rock the boat, but at least when you do your oversight function very well, you put the executive, the appointees of the president, you put them on their toes,
Yeah, but
then you force them to deliver more.
Yeah, but how do we actually reconcile this difference between the issue of the National Assembly has to be independent of the executive, but they don't have to be a rubber stamp?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's misunderstood. When they work together too much, it looks like, okay, the National Assembly is a rubber stamp. But when they want to work to checkmate or to act as a check and balance, it looks like the National Assembly and the executive are loggerheads.
I always recommend people to read Lee Kuan Yew, from Third World to First. The story of Singapore Miracle and all that. If you read that book, I consider it the best book on nation building. You will see how the head of government, who has a very little issue, a very little idea, vague, that he didn't even know what to do with it, but the first thing he would do would be to call leadership of the legislature. They will sit down, debate it, and after they have all, every member has come in with different ideas. From there, from a very vague idea, a big picture will emerge, and at the end of the day, they may ask the head of government not to bother to forward any bill, that a member of the legislature will go ahead and forward the bill. There are a lot of ways to benefit.
Does Nigeria operate like that?
We can do so if we love our country. Right. From the presidency to the legislature, we can do it because politicking, in a very bad way, has never, helped the national interest. Let me tell you, there are a lot of things achieved under the Saraki Senate. Don't let anybody tell you it's a total failure. But because of politics, there are a lot of things that this country achieved under Saraki Senate. But because of politics, many of these things were not able to put in proper context, or many were just, put by the wayside and all that. Right. Now that we will not be battling with toxic politics, as I want to assume, President Muhammadu Buhari should...
Now, I'll take it from there. Now that we wouldn't be battling with toxic politics, in your words, how would you expect them to hit the ground running, seeing that the party's agenda, which is to take Nigerians to the next level, is what they intend to achieve now?
Okay. Now, the issue of, budget is gone. This Senate under Lawan, and Gbajabiamila will not have to do with that, because that's usually the first problem. Now, that is no longer an issue. Now, we want the president to hit the ground running. He was sworn in on May 29. Today is June what?
12.
June 12.
He has not made any appointment. If you look at our laws, the president does not have anybody as aides. All the aides he appointed when he was sworn in May 29, 2015, they had all gone. Now, from chief of staff to the ones you will need in the National Assembly to, screen and, we want the president, because it should start from the president. We want the president to start, to hit the ground running. This week, we want to see the list of ministers. We want to see the list of who is going to be this, who is going to be that.
Right.
In the last dispensation, our president spent 6 months, if I'm not, wrong, before he put up a cabinet, and a cabinet that, at the end of the day, they were not people from another planet. They are people we know already. Okay. So we want him to hit the ground on this time around.
Let me take you straight to the comments of the speech, the opening or the acceptance speech, or the first speech by the speaker, the new speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, where he talked about the fact that he will be interested in carrying out some reforms, even though he will bring them in piecemeal so he doesn't shock the system. He also talks about the fact that he's going to shake tables. How did that resonate with you?
But people know Femi Gbajabiamila, and if he wants to do anything, give it to him, he will do it very well. A day before the election, he was talking about the fact that the era of analog, legislation is gone. That I think he's going to introduce a lot of new things that will fast track the way the business of the house is conducted. From what I've seen so far, if you give Femi Gbajabiamila any work, and he believes in it, he will do it with the best, speed and.
How challenging do you think that all these changes he's talking about, bringing it to bear, how do you see it working or going down well with members of the House?
Yeah, I think from when you look at his election, look at his campaign, look at the votes he got, the overwhelming majority of the members of the House, elected him. To get 280-something votes is not easy. He campaigned virtually in every part of Nigeria. It's like wanting to be the president of Nigeria. When I look at his campaign, this is the first time I saw an House, election becoming so, intense in terms of campaigns.
But this is a change.
Coming now into settling down, to business, maybe a little, different in the sense that how do you marry the interest of, because I always see the House of Representatives as a mini Nigeria. Virtually every segment of Nigeria has a representative there to be able to marry the diverse interests, the intrigues, so everything falls on his, table now. We will see what he's able to do, but it's not going to be an easy thing because Nigerians are not looking for a rubber stamp, House of Reps.
All right. When it comes to moving forward, Nigerians are expecting so much. Like Femi Gbajabiamila mentioned, that Nigerians are waiting. They're expecting so much. Now, another issue there is the issue of the so-called cabal that the people all often mention, whether that exists or it doesn't exist, or whether it's just in the imagination of anyone. But a lot of people feel that the system is not just proactive. When you're ready to move on, there are some things that hold you back one way or the other. What kind of challenges do you think the next National Assembly is going to have?
The first challenges will be, how do you live up to the expectation of Nigerians? Because Nigerians expect so much from President Muhammadu Buhari. Many believe that he can still do better than what he did in the first 4 years. So people will want to see how the House of Representatives, how the Senate, the legislature as a whole, can help the president to achieve more. You need to exert a lot of, apart from just passing bills, you can pass bills, great bills, that may not be implemented by the executive. How you push the executive to, execute some of these bills. Then, when you do budget, in Nigeria, it means a lot of things. When the executive proposes, budget, you send it in, then the legislature, has some inputs, amendments here and there, and then it is signed into law. That is not the end of it.
Well, joining us now is Associate Editor of the Nation newspaper, Adekunle Yusuf. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, one cannot overlook the efforts of the National Assembly since 1999 and now. But then, to be effective, for this Night Assembly to be effective, where and how do you want them to hit the ground running? Or how do you want them to address issues?
Well, the leadership and the members of the National Assembly shouldn't see themselves as APC or PDP. They should see themselves as servants of the Nigerian people. I think one of the first jobs they will be doing now to show that it will no longer be business as usual, as some of them have promised. When the president eventually sends the list of ministers, they should not screen it unless portfolios are attached. They should advise the president to, attach the portfolios to each name, so that when you are sitting for an exam, you know the post you are aspiring to get. Okay. It will be easy for you as members of the National Assembly to, when you are trying to screen them, you will know what you are screening them for. It's not going to be a blanket.
We'll come to you. We'll come back on this. Let's what that means to our democracy today. Now, from 1999, in this Fourth Republic that we're celebrating, from the first Speaker of the House, Buhari, and the first Senate President, Evan Enwerem, until now. If you look at the drama that took place from one level to the other, from the first, second, third, National Assembly up until now, how has the development taken, how is democracy taking root from what your assessment so far?
Yeah, when you look at the composition of the National Assembly from 1999 to this date, you realize that it was first dominated largely by one political party, largely, the PDP then. Then, as we moved on, I think in the 6th National Assembly, the then ANPP, we started having, and some other parties, we started having a sizable number of, National Assembly members who were not elected on the platform of the ruling party. That was when the politics and parliamentary politics changed a bit. But now, today, you will see that even though the APC is the ruling party, it can't do most of the things alone without getting along with the other parties because they are also sizable in numbers. So what that means is that in this Senate, in this House of Reps, every senator, every legislator should see himself not as a member of APC or PDP or any party. They shouldn't see themselves as pro-Buhari, anti-Buhari. No. It is pro-Nigeria. Everything that will benefit Nigeria, they should do things in the national interest.
Well, with the way the campaigns went, and where you see support from even the parties coming to bear, how successful would this play out? No,
that is how it is when it comes to contentions. You have to contest for political, post here.
Because there are talks about interests.
Interest, but when it comes to issues later after you have emerged, you are no longer a member of any political party. You are, yet you are representing Nigeria. Senate President Lawan is no longer Senate President of APC. No, he's the Senate President of Nigeria's.
So at this point, it's about governance.
It's about governance, and you have to do it in the national interest, not in the parochial view of a political party.
All right, Adekunle Yusuf, thank you so much for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.